I'll start off with a question for you. Do you look at Sasquatch research as a system? If you are new to doing research or investigations, let me give you a bit of a leg up on this poser. Let's start with, what is the official definition of a system? A system is an arrangement of parts that together exhibit behavior or meaning that the individual constituents do not. At least that is the dictionary version. For our purpose, parts is the important term we should deal with. Going back to Aristotle's quote, the whole is more than the sum of the parts. The whole being Sasquatch, in this case, is more than the sum of its parts, such parts being footprints, hair samples, vocalizations, and certain behaviors topped off with vast, copious amounts of anecdotal speculation. So do the sum of those parts make a whole? Sadly not. Why is this? For some reason within our whole, that is Sasquatch, we have a systemic fail, which has allowed him to travel under our radar for decades. Happily, there are more investigators who want to rectify this by upping their game with regards to investigating evidence. For the sake of discussion, examples of improvement could be 1. Evidence such as photos of a single print in the soil being downplayed in favor of viewable trackways. 2. In the future, all blurry or distant photographs be replaced by those who should be up close with good definition. And all others depictions of Sasquatch should be discarded out of hand. Another example is statements that should be factual in nature. Like there are those who say, "But we got the DNA. Who got it? Where did they get from? Has it been vetted? Why haven't they released the results?" DNA tests can only tell you what documented specimen the sample is not from. It cannot tell you what a sample is from without a documented body or body part for a baseline. There's going to need to be some honest realism there in order for them to ever up their game. These are just some of the failing parts of our system that we will have to work with as we try to create a whole. Now, the systemic fail that I mentioned earlier turns out to be people. Researchers. Here I repeat, there is a movement afoot among a number of researchers/investigators who have come to the conclusion that it is time for a change. And knowing this means that we all have to up our game in order to bring the system's parts together. One should also be aware that there are mismatched moving parts keeping our system from completion. Our system should be reflective of a flesh and blood creature upon completion. So by considering such, I don't think there is really any place in our system for the woo, paranormal, UFOs, dogmen, Jersey Devil, Mothman, etc. Because those are manifestations of other systems. If you follow me. In the past 23 years as an enthusiast, and the past 20 years as an investigator of the Sasquatch phenomenon, it has always amazed me that there were so many people out there claiming to have the answers, and yet, have no evidence of such that they can, or are willing to produce. Stick to the facts, and never deviate from the facts, saith the gatekeeper. There are also many organizations that have been conducting projects over the years. Many claim to have garnered great successes. And yet, there is nothing presented by these organizations which can be seen as definitive evidence of the creature's existence. In my humble opinion, the claims of these organizations are in fact failures to confirm, being cloaked by these groups as successes. Are they looking for donations? I don't know. The whole is more than the sum of its parts. For those of you who are new Sasquatch seekers, and even those who are not so new, we can all up our game. I don't think that an investigator should be satisfied with collecting just the low-hanging fruit. That is not the kind of investigating which will enhance our system. Did you get a footprint? Then try to find another one. Tell the story of what happened there. Look for a trackway. Look for any other animal prints. Tell the story. Vet the evidence. Find a reason for that print to be there. Don't just snap a picture and think that your job is finished, and rush off to upload your pic to a Facebook page. Got a tree knock? Go find out what was causing it. Or just ignore it like it never happened. That is better than endlessly speculating online. Same goes for vocalizations. Thou shalt not be chicken. Seek out the source of the noise. Didn't get a recording? Then you don't know what it was, so why post about it as though it were Sasquatch related? It is just an unknown noise, and leave it at that. Anything else is just muddying the waters. Maybe we all are guilty of spending too much time being Captain Obvious with our evidence. However, the good news is, I believe that 2023 is the start of the show me what you got age of Sasquatch research by way of the collecting of evidence. And I am so relieved to have come to this understanding. Thanks to Nikki for the concept. It means that no longer will the depiction of a single footprint be an event in and of itself, unless there is corroborating evidence to accompany the find. Vetting evidence and its source is key, in my opinion. Research the researcher. Don't accept anything at face value. Even the best in the field can be wrong at times. Find the story that the clues are offering you. Extend your investigation beyond the obvious low-hanging fruit. I know, it sounds like work. But if a person is not going to do the work, then maybe this whole endeavor is not for them. All the evidence that we need to prove that Sasquatch exists is out there. But if he does not exist, then that evidence is out there too. We got to downplay the low-hanging fruit of an investigation, as these are just markers for the real story in front of you. The most important part of this system is the people involved, of course. After all, it is they who are doing the research. I am no expert on systems. I will leave that to Leon. But it was Leon's theories that make me look at the whole Sasquatch thing as though it were a system. Not this wild and chaotic scene where little is vetted, where things appear to happen by chance, and where one has little control over what is promoted as evidence. If you are seeking an animal-like creature, then do not allow in or entertain the opinions of the woo or UFO followers and such. Also, remember that any attempts to cross over into our system on their part only weakens their own system. So, I guess the question is, could we, in the next few years, continue to think outside of the box while keeping our research disciplines within the lines of an upped game? I guess time will tell. Watch this space. And now for something somewhat different. Thank you for your patronage. And toodaloo.